So thank you everyone to join us today. So as you see in the communications that we sent via email and of course in social media, today we have Nick Jones, and we are going to talk about how Brewer Insurance increased his premium in InsuredMine from 0 to 17 million in premium. And before we jump in that, I just wanted to show with you guys how it's going to be the agenda for today. Of course, we have the welcome, the live demo, some questions that you will have for Nick or even for InsuredMine, and wrap up. So happy to introduce Nick. Nick, can you talk about a little bit of yourself, Brewer Insurance?
Yeah, sure. Been with the agency since 2011. Moved here from Columbia, South Carolina. We are located in Raleigh. I was a commercial agent. I tell everybody my story is I started at the bottom, right? My salary was $3,300 plus 90% commission. I didn't know anybody. Anybody that ever meets me knows I'm a sales guy, so I love to sell. And I just, for years, I was just sales as well as while I was, drumming up, getting my name out there. And so as I was growing it, trying to grow our commercial department, I always been in commercial, didn't get into trucking until, 4.5 years ago. And love sales, love people, love to take things, make it better. I got into insurance to help people, right? And sometimes it's difficult, as we all agree, because it's business. But, what I've found is that my claim to fame is success would be, I guess, just really doing, when I got into the business, people would call me for a quote and be like, hey, I got everything. Let me call you back. You're like, all right, well, that's what the last guy said, and so I call people back. There's my claim to fame. Call them back.
Okay. Sorry, I was reading a message in the chat. So that's interesting, right? Because as you mentioned, how you start from like your salary, and now that you have a Brewer, and of course all these new partnerships that you have, and how InsuredMine has helping you. So Paula, do you want to start with some questions that we prepared for Nick?
Yeah, great, Nick. And so I don't know if everyone joined in the beginning of the call, but we were having a little chit chat. So Brewer Insurance has been with InsuredMine since 2019. So they're a long tenured client, and Nick has done a really good job with him and his team. And we probably can't leave Sarah out of the picture, right?
No, Sarah's out right now. In fact, she's calling me right now.
With building all of the automations that you have and all the tools that InsuredMine has delivered to help you with that business. So maybe kind of just walk us through the process of setting up like your pipeline. So what was your methodology? Because I'm sure you tweaked it along the way.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm constantly tweaking it. It's funny. I guess I should have told. I always tell this story about InsuredMine. So I came to InsuredMine because we had AMS 360 at the time. And anybody that's ever been in AMS 360, it's a lot like Epic from what I can hear. You almost have to have a data degree to be able to get your data out of it. Like just to run a simple freaking report of, am I missing email addresses? Was like, I'd be on the phone with AMS for an hour and a half building this list and then try to remember the steps to run it. And so we did a demo with Rouchen, and the team showed us how we can extract our data to be able to use it to go after people and to have the data accurate. And so we're like, oh my God, this is what we need. Because we also came from the background, I was a nationwide agent. I was exclusive nationwide. They hand fed us baby and ice cream for years with their little system. And so when we had to go to the world with the big boys of independent agents and get our own agency management system, we were like, what the hell are we doing here? I don't even know how to do this stuff. Everything was just right here on one little screen. Now I got to go to 52 different places and always use a spreadsheet. And so we signed up with that, and that was the selling ticket. And then at the time, I told you I'm a sales guy. So I was like, my sales process, for years was a piece of paper, right? I left a message on 12/13. I left a message on 12/15. I come from the school of thought that it takes 80% of all sales are made on 13 touches. And so we needed something to manage that. And so ended up having, we signed up to do InsuredMine to get our data and to be able to market our clients and just say, happy birthday, right? We started fooling around with the sales process. And for years, I wanted to have a repeatable process, right? I wanted to be able to measure it, to organize it. I'm a sales guy. Salespeople are lazy. They don't want to go different places. You need to keep it all together, and then, as I was building out, we built trucking out from zero. So I got to build it the way I wanted to. So we didn't go the traditional route with account managers. My sales guys, all they do is sell. I have service people, all they do is service. I have renewals department, all they do is renewals. I have an accounting department. I have underwriters. So we have varied lanes. And so, we started getting into the sales pipeline. And I was like, man, I can really, we can really get organized here, right? And so, because at the time when I was building trucking, it was just me, right? So I had a book of business. I was training salespeople. So my sales guys were making phone calls, working on trucking leads. And so I would have to quote it. I would have to do the COI. And so they'd come in my office and be like, hey, where's that quote for such and such? And I'd go over to my email like we all do and search that customer's name and try to find the latest email. Like, this is just driving me crazy. I can't keep up with this. And if I can't keep up with it, I know they ain't keeping up with it, right? And so we started diving into the sales process with InsuredMine and the lanes. And it was, what I loved about it was, and this is always what I say about InsuredMine, you can do anything within 3 clicks, right? And so salespeople, they want to sell, they want to make money. If they're not money focused, they're not salespeople. So take that back to the house. They aren't going to be as impressed by the details and all that. So if you can make it easy, if they can do it within 3 clicks, it's going to get used, right? And so I'm able to keep my sales process repeatable in the lanes as well as ease of use, right? Where I can let my salespeople focus on going and getting that animal and bringing it back to the house, and we slice it up, right? I don't need you to be data experts. I don't need you to do this. And so to this day, we don't really use InsuredMine for finding out if we're missing email addresses or birthdays and all that. We have used it now. Every year I have this thing that I do. The renewal's coming up. And I sit down. I have someone in staff that she mentioned, Sarah, is my marketing person. And she helps me build out some of the templates. She helps me with my automation. She helps me do some of the stuff behind the scenes. I sit down with Sarah and and I'm like, all right, what else can we use InsuredMine to do? Because in the beginning, we were only doing sales, right? For the first 2 years. Then I was like, man, there's so much more we can do. We're paying for. What else can we do? And so then we just begin I'm a layer guy, right? So I start building my little foundation. I come up to the footer. I do this and this and this. Same with InsuredMine. I started with the sales. All right, what else can we automate? What else
Right,
can
because
we
it's so overwhelming. So as you talk about building what you've done and over a period of time tweaking it, how have you created the automation to work for you, right? In that process.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things I like about it. Is we're part of High Street Insurance Partners, one of the fastest growing brokers on the planet. Woohoo! And we're going to be rolling out InsuredMine. And one of my conversations I had with Rauschen last week was, hey, I don't need you to make this thing where it's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 3 for all 160 agencies in 27 states. What I like about it is it's customizable, right? So the sales process is the same anywhere you got. You just might have an extra step here or an extra step there. Commercial, personal lines, same thing. You just might, a personal lines policy shelf life is 3 or 4 days. Commercial, depending on the type of account, it could be 60 days. It could be 2 weeks, And so you're able to customize that for each type of a client, And then I started adding different boards. I've got a website board where all my web leads come in. I've got a pre-renewal board. I've got a renewal board. I've got a board where I park stuff. Now I just made a new board today that when I close a deal is lost, it will copy it, put it on that board and pop up 65 days from when I closed it as the next day, And so very simple to do. I did it myself through the chat because I couldn't remember. And so
because Sarah's out of the office on maternity.
Sarah's on maternity leave for the next 60 days. Matter of fact, great example. Monday, I was doing one of our campaigns that we manually do every Monday. And I sat down with Sarah before she went on vacation. And we went through and we recorded it. And I was so proud of myself. I did it. It was 4-stage campaign that I sent out. And it was like, whoo. So
But go
it
to
is
the automation.
overwhelming.
So like, how are you communicating to your prospects? Like in which stage? Like, is it right away when that web lead comes in? What goes out?
So great example. The web lead pipeline is my newest baby that I'm working on, and it started out of a need of I'm constantly, we have to grow, right? We have to write, and I have to look at all my costs, even if it's $500 a month. I got to look at it, right? And so I was looking at what I'm paying for Google clicks, for Facebook ads, for my marketing person to send these emails. I'm like, I don't know if I'm writing it. So what I did was I built this whole board, and we do probably 7 to 8 campaigns going on constantly, right?
Will you be willing to share your screen?
Sure. And I would tell you my let me see if I can pull it up. And so I created a deal board for that. I call it my website board. And so what I love about this is, I have several agents, the web lead will come in here when they click on any email that we send out, any Facebook, anything. This is where me and Roushey were kind of talking last week. So by the way, the forms that InsuredMine has today, I created those with InsuredMine, right? So you have these forms that are live embedded in your website that you can use. It will drive you back to InsuredMine. We started out kind of old school when I started my trucking, where I'm driving everybody to my website. Everything goes to the website, they click on it, and then it goes to InsuredMine. So we use a third-party Zapier app to get it through there. So we send out an email that says, hey, we can save you 10% on your car insurance like Geico, right? Click here. And when they click there, I'll show y'all one of the ads here in a second. They got minimal information they put in: name, phone number, email. And then for us in trucking, we use DOT. What it then does is it comes over to this guy right here. And depending on right now, because this is a very, very beta, so this is not ideal, but it tags it, hey, this was a customer referral. This was we have these tags all throughout here. This was a Google search.
Okay, hold on, because there's a quiz. Those aren't tags, Nick.
Labels. How about
Thank you.
Labels. Sorry. We label it, this was a Facebook ad, an Instagram ad, or whatever, right? And I'm doing that. My end goal is at the end of the month, I'm going to run a report and say, I bound 5 policies with this, 2 policies with this, 0 with this. Let's spend some more money over here, less money over here. But when it comes in, it automatically comes in this, sends them an email, and it says, hey, you want to save some money, you want to whatever, click here, right? However, depending on the time of day it comes in, I will come in, and right now I'm manually coming in here looking at these, and my agents are states. So we're in 13 states. So if it's a Texas one, I'm going to send it to my Texas guy. If it's a South Carolina, I'm going to send it to my South Carolina guy. There's not much difference in states, but my guys, it just works, right? So this is what I'm doing now. But when I look at this and say, this one goes to Nick. Well, I will assign this to Nick. It will then send out another automation. Hey, meet Nick. And remind me, how do we get to that? How do I get to that? Show
to
y'all
see
that
the
email.
automation?
Yeah, I want to see this email. Remind me how to
Go
get
back. Go back
You can look
to
in communications too.
Oh, you can? All right. This is, why is it not?
Click on the 3 dots in the email.
Right here?
Yep.
All right. So this is the automated that they get when they fill out the form. Hey, we receive your query. We made this. This is not a template. This is what we made. You see it has the start the quote now. They click that, takes them to our website. They fill out something, they hit submit, and then boom, it creates a deal card. So we have the intake form, that they fill out. And this is just really basic. This is stuff on our website as well that they can do. Again, it's been our custom.
You have a consistent header and a footer that you kind of use.
Yes,
maybe just change
100%.
the body, right?
1000%.
Yeah.
We try to keep everything looking the same.
And this is an engagement in template builder. So I know
Yep.
that was a question from Joshua that came in. So yes,
Yes.
you can create that, and then you can save your header and your footer so that when you go to do another template, you can just bring that in.
Exactly.
And then where would I find this one? Where did you say that I can find that one? I can't remember. We're on the Zoom, so now I can't remember. Did you say go back to the back?
To the pipeline, and then remember the big three dots in your right side.
Yeah.
And then your automations. So Joshua, before Nick continue, Nick creates all the templates in InsuredMine, and some of the pictures probably, or some of the design probably he created in Canva or another
Canva.
software.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just uploaded in InsuredMine.
Yeah, and then so when I sign it to my agent, this is what goes out next, and it's all customized to each agent, and it just talks a little bit about us. Again, it shows some, they can, if they click there, that is their specific intake form, right? And it goes to their deal board. And it just, and look, I'm telling you, since we started this, we're writing 1 or 2 a week, and
And I
it's
think
very,
the automation really kind of keeps your customer connected, right? Because
yeah.
it's relevant, it's snappy looking, right? Who doesn't want to look at Nick? We love your characters. They're awesome. And it makes it fun, and plus you're engaged, right? So you're right away. You're not.
I'm trying to create the Domino's Amazon effect, right? Domino's
That's
has
what I
got the
want
little
to say,
tracker,
yeah.
like, hey, it's in the oven, it's out in the truck, we're at your front door, right? Because Amazon and Domino's have started that for us already. Now, not every customer gives a crap about that, but there are some, and let's go to them, right? But either way, we're going to make it repeatable to every person. Automation just keeps you, hey, we've all done it. We've emailed a car dealer, we went to their website, we've never heard anything. Well, at least this is more than that initial, we received your inquiry, we'll be calling. Nope. Boom, 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 until you say, stop bothering me, right?
So what kind of form did you use? I mean, because it's not just one form, it's many forms.
Yeah, so like this one here is our, pretty sure that's our quote sheet. No, I think this one takes,
this is InsuredMine.
yeah, this one is our, so when the initial form is taking them, I'll show you. I think it's both. So this one here is the one when it gets to the customer on the web leads, it sends it from Jason. It's Jason's form, right? And it's all these forms that we built on y'all's website that are the quote sheets, the intake forms. Back to your question too about, well, the other thing that I always is my new claim to fame is this timeline. Like so many times as an agent, as a sales guy, you can't remember what you've done on the deal. So it just goes back to everybody at AMS 360, QQ, Epic, Gold Standard, whatever. If you put it in there, you can get it out, right? So if you didn't make a note that you talked to them 3 days ago, you ain't gonna know when you talk to them. So I mean, you'll literally see some of my deal cards that says left message out. Think this one, because what we wanted to do, I think this was my card, and because what we want to do is if they send it in the middle of the night or on the weekend and they're at home, they can start to fill it out and we can go to work. Yes, this is the same quote sheet. So we email out our email blast, our Google clicks or whatever, they click on it, they want an option, it will fill them out. It will send it to our deal card, and then automatically we send this. And then when I sign it,
and so you're a sales guy and you're a great sales leader, right? And so how did you get your team in here?
Great question.
Yeah.
I told them this was the process.
Yep.
Point
the
blank.
fearless leader has spoken, right?
If you want to work here and you want to sell, then this is what it is. Because this is what I tell them. Look, I've done it. I've renewed. I've sat in that seat before. You cannot sell, renew, service, and grow. So what I'm allowing you to do is only sell, but you got to follow my process.
Yep.
Because the other thing that we didn't talk about is like if we flip over here to my new business board, I'll show you. Let me look at one of my guys here. So everybody pretend they signed an NDA, they don't know this customer, right? So
yeah, so that's an important thing. We didn't talk about non-disclosure, right? So obviously Nick is sharing his screen, so we thank you for your professionalism. In not taking anything away personally.
Yeah. So I told you I'm a lane guy, right? So when I need to hire a sales guy, I need to find somebody doesn't mind talking to strangers, doesn't mind getting cussed at and yelled at all day long, can grin and bear it. They're a little cuckoo, right? I can say that I'm a sales guy. It's a different breed, right? But when I need somebody that does details, I hire a detail person, right? So my sales guy, his job is call, get the stuff, fill out there's basic information that they're required to get. But then what we do is they have somebody they work with, right? And so if she doesn't have, and as part of our sales process is, these 2 lanes here, lead-in, gathering, look here. It comes in these 2 lanes are my lanes as a sales guy, right? It stays in here as long as I want it to. Well, not theoretically, we got rules on that too, but anyway. But once it goes over to this lane right here, ready to quote, and you assign it to Laura, if it doesn't have the stuff it's supposed to have, she moves it back.
So do you use checklists to keep everybody on track?
Yes, everybody. Yes and no. We don't, for the quoting, for when it goes to my new business underwriter, she has a checklist that she shows them of what she's doing, where she's at, where she sent it. But to that point, no, because we've kind of kept it basic. But it is something that I was looking at last week, because like you said, we're always figuring out how we can get a little better, get a little better. One of the things I added last week was, setting the goals, making sure we close a deal with the right premium. The thing that I added today is, let's say when this John Smith, I close it as lost. The automation that I put in today is it's automatically going to copy that card, put it back on my deal board in 300 days. And so it's just tweaks as you go. You figure out, in the beginning, I would tell people, just start freaking using it, right? Use it, figure it out simple, add on to it, right?
Because it's better than a sticky note. It's better than your piece of paper. It's better than
like checklist is important, but maybe you don't know what you need to checklist in the beginning. You need to sell. That's what you need to do. You need to sell policies. So if you use InsuredMine, you'll sell policies.
Yep. And as a sales leader, it gives you insight as well, because that way everyone has a consistent process. You can use your deal chart or your sales analytics for coaching. So how do you coach your team and as they have their deal board, right? So talk a little bit about how you want
so, and I want to show you something else too. I'll show you a second. So they're required, in order to have somebody service the policies you wrote, shop them, to write them, and they don't even work renewals. So I'm gonna do all that for you, right? But in order for you to keep that seat that you sit in every day, and me to provide all that support, plus a computer, nice chair, some snacks, right? Air conditioning, I could keep going. I'm gonna need you to sell this amount of premium and make this many outbound marketing attempts every day. And, data is king, right? So I know, and I always say, hey, look, we know that if you can get 10 quotes a week, you'll meet these goals. So, we measure them by the data, right? The phone system we have, we look at their calls. I'll look at their deal cards in here and just see how many quotes they got. I know how many quotes they have every week because it tells me that, right? I require them now to mark it as loss and to track their own premium. But likewise, it's pretty clear. And then as far as so the first time when I hire a new salesperson, I was like, just call, get the activity going. So the other second step I tell people is, just as important as you to make those calls and get those deals, is you need to follow up on what's in your pipeline, right? You spent the time to get those jokers to give you the information, finish it off, right? And I tell them all the time, this deal should not be in your deal board for 60 days. A shelf life on our stuff is 30 days. Get it out of there. You can make more money. You can make more money. You can't make more time. So let's work on what we can.
So when did you see your biggest growth spurt? Like after you launched trucking, right? So at what point did it all kind of gel and really take off?
I think from the beginning, because it really took off because we had a sales process from the beginning. We knew we had a script that we wanted you to use, a process that we wanted you to follow every day.
So you have a process flow guide for your team.
Yes. And in the pipeline and saying, use this, and being able to see that you can make adjustments on the fly. having that from the beginning, you know, I've seen people, even in our organization, Ashley, go buy InsuredMine and tell the producer to go use it. And he's not going to do it. Like, if you're going to make the investment in InsuredMine, before you give it to your staff, you need to have it ready. You need to know what you want your sales process to be. Even if it's as basic as just put this in here, and when you're ready to do, you know, like, have it basic and then build off of it, you know, but have it ready from day one.
Something that also, and I like that part, something that we provide to the new agencies, and of course to all agencies, we provide them 5 different pipelines, in which in those 5 different pipelines, we give them the basic automations. So they can choose if they want to turn on those automations, or as you mentioned, go with the flow that we provide to them and start adding the deal cards, adding the producers, and see how it works. And probably they will add a checklist, a form, automations for the clients or automations for the team. And then they move to the other module, like engagement, creating marketing campaigns.
Yeah. I would tell people, have, you know, your first year, 2 goals, right? Number 1, you're going to see your most return on investment if you sell. So let's get the sales process going. We got to sell policies. Businesses grow. They don't go backwards. So to grow, you got to sell more policies. And I would start there. And the second thing would be, I mean, I would say sales, but I would integrate some automation as well as something to our current clients, you know, which is very easy to do. The hardest part is figuring out what automation you want, when you want it, and building out your marketing templates, you know, making it to your, like you all said, if you can see, all of ours are pretty similar. We just have some stuff in the middle, and we wanted to be uniform, you know, and we're constantly adding. I want Chick-fil-A process, right? Everybody knows they go to Chick-fil-A. I've been to Chick-fil-A for 30 years. I've had one bad experience. Can you say that about any other business on the planet?
I don't know. Every time I crave Chick-fil-A, it's Sunday. Which
I know, me too. God, I want a biscuit so bad on Sunday.
I wish we had Blue Laws still for those people that even know what that is. So anyways,
right.
Monty, let's pause to see if we have any questions, because
yeah, there was one question that I answered. Somebody asked what AMS is. We used to, we're on QQ Catalyst right now.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, Nick, at this moment, we don't have more questions about this, but I'm wondering if you can share with us your email campaigns, because as Nick mentioned last week, we were with Nick, and in InsuredMine, we were impressed about the analytics that he has, and you will be able to see the analytics.
Yeah, so let me do this. Let me move this camera again. Good Lord. I'm going to...
Someone's asking a question while you're trying to find your dates. What phone system do you use?
Lightspeed
Voice.
And we've been through a few. I would recommend Lightspeed. I can make an introduction to anybody. I have a good relationship. But so back to, you know, our email marketing, we sent in 1 year 267,000 emails, and we have an open rate of 43%.
That's really good.
If you look down here, 106 people complained.
That's nothing.
I like this number better, 0.04%, right?
The percentage is better.
So, and these are all a lot of campaigns we're doing, you know, it's a lot of different stuff. And so I think it has a lot to do with, you know, how they look, you know, and we do it regularly, you know.
And we just sent
these. This was Mondays that I did. You know, we sent 3,000 of them. 25% of them were opened. 0 complaints.
Yes, and this is also something that all the agencies should do. They need to review the emails if they are good emails or not. They always need to clean their data, their emails, because probably someday one email is going to be down, and that email is going to cause you a complaint or increase your rates in the percentage of the opening or bounce email. So it's really important, guys, that you take time and review your emails.
Anytime you connect with a customer or a prospect, always verify any of their contact information. as Nick said, and we always say, you know, good data in is good data out.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, I would say that, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing I learned from going from like a captive type of nationwide agency to independence is, the importance of use of data, right? And so we're not, it's a working I'm constantly figuring out, okay, we've got to do, I told the sales guys last week, we've got to put this data in there so that it helps us, and it's a bit, if you do it all at once, you go from 0 to 100 of like this, it's a bit overwhelming, but you just got to bite size the thing, and you should be working on your data yearly of cleaning it up and looking at it, and because your needs change too, and I think it was at a conference one time, and it was the IANC conference in Myrtle Beach before COVID, and there was a guy there talking about how much, two things that I walked away, I'm still thinking about to this day, is how many times do we do things double, triple times data entry, right? And how much time does I waste on that and our staff waste on it? And then secondly, he said, too many times as we're growing a business, or we try to grow our insurance based on what we want to do, what we want to write, and where we should be looking at the data, right? The data should tell us, I would think that was the biggest lesson I learned when I started our trucking thing is I didn't do a real good job of looking at the data that we had in place. I didn't know what carriers we had that I could have written it with. So it was like a year went by before I could realize I could write with this one carrier that paid us pretty good. And so really looking at that before you get going, I've had folks that wanted to, I've helped folks launch a trucking business agency in theirs. And one of the first things we do is, all right, so tell me about you. Let's look at your carriers. Let's look at what systems you're using. Tell me about your staff. Let's look at all of that. Then we'll formulate the plan instead of saying, hey, I started calling some truckers today. Where can I write this? Well, anyway.
So any questions, Monty?
Yes, we have one question from Daytrick. So he's asking, if you use Dutch List, how do you send email campaigns to people who are not in InsuredMine system? Are they loaded into InsuredMine as prospect or?
Yeah, so you can email anybody that's not in InsuredMine by uploading a list, right? It doesn't even have to be truckers. It could be anybody. You just, you would go over here, you'd upload this list right here, call it whatever you call it, select the source, you upload it, upload the file, boom, right? Then the list is in there.
Talk a little bit about that, because lots of times agents think they have to use their contacts, prospects, leads, but explain how they can do this file upload without creating a contact.
Yes, so if you are just going to send the email campaign for your clients, for your prospect that you don't have it in InsuredMine, we recommend to use this part that it's uploading a file in which this file is just going to stay as a file, and the system is not going to create you a contact, a deal card, or an account. It's just keep in engagement module, and after you connect with them or after they reply to you, you have the option to create that email or that contact as a prospect in InsuredMine. But again, you need to be sure that all the lists that you have or that you upload in the system, the emails are good emails. So yeah, we do not suspend your account for bounce emails or for a percentage in bounce emails.
So how often do you use this file upload, Nick?
Weekly. Every Monday we run something. We upload a file.
Just explain,
and then Thursday.
After you send it out, so like what kind of percentage do you think you get of people getting a quote or connecting with them and adding them as a contact?
That's what I'm working on right now with that website thing, is trying to track that. I'm
So
at
in
first
that
stage
campaign, you're directing them to click on the link of the form,
yes,
which
yes,
creates the contact.
Yes. And so
That's
where I've got, so I've only rolled that out the last 60 days. We had to build out that little automation email and that pretty little thing that Sarah did. And so then we had to build out one for each agent. So I've been trying to figure out what the need was as I was going. The stage that I'm at right now, like I was talking to them last week, is I need I need somebody to tell me how to get to my result, and so that's where Roush and I were talking about maybe getting y'all to help me do some stuff with that, because like what I want to do is now is my end result is this. I want to run a list and it tell me out of the, I don't know, 10,000 that we got, we bound this amount, and so that I haven't got there yet,
Couple of questions coming in, Monty?
Yes. So we have, what date time do you send emails to prospects?
9 a.m.
9 a.m. And well, Jared is asking us, is it easy to stop the emails going to a specific prospect once you connect? Yes, you can stop the emails.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different settings in the engagement that's kind of cool. Like you can pick you
In the
can like
analytics, too.
you can pick it when you get over here. That's kind of cool, like when you pick the stages, right? So like you can say after they have clicked it, we'll send them another email, or we can just send it to all. After they now let's say some of our campaigns, or even after we've made a sale, we have them on a one deal campaign that we talk to them throughout the year with different things on there, just talking about the agency, reminding them what they paid for, the different features they have. We have a loss campaign. I tell you, that loss campaign is kind of cool too. How do I want to show, like, we get people, when we hit lost, they call us back and like, wait a minute, I wasn't done yet. Well, dude, you ain't freaking answering your phone, right? So it just has like,
It's
how do
in
you get to that?
pipeline. So if
Oh,
you
yeah,
go
It's
to
in
pipeline.
pipeline, big three dots,
automation,
automation, and then deal actions,
the elections.
loss.
So
This is
it
the
seems,
bomb. This is awesome.
yeah, like this right here, that right there gets them every time. I'm telling
I
you,
love
dude, it really,
that.
like having second, and they will call back and say, hey, I wasn't done. Well, dude, you ain't responded. So we're done, right?
And I think that, so, and you're frank, right? And I don't know if it's a trucking thing, right? But it is what it is. And you honestly talk about the process. And I think it makes for an engaged customer, even a engaged prospect, right?
Well, here's what I've found. I mean, yes, it is a little bit raw, or the way I'm saying it to y'all, but I would say it similar in a softer way. And I tell people all the time, some of my sales background is like, look, hey, look, you can make more money, you can't make more time, right? Your time is no more important than mine. Likewise, like you got to close these things in the beginning. Like, hey, look, if I can do this for you, can you do this, right? Can you fire your agent? Can you hire me, right? Like, I don't like that. The people, it should not be dictated, the sales process, by the person that you want to win. It is a if then, not a do this and then I'll go to you. No.
Good point. What other questions do we have, Monty?
We have Dietrich that is asking for your email. He also has a trucking agency and would like to meet with you, Nick. So
I'm gonna put it right here in the chat.
yes.
Anybody that wants to chat. Hey, look,
Yeah,
I'm old. I'm a little old school, and this for anybody's on this call. I will help anybody. Give me a call. That's what humans are supposed to do for each other.
that's right. And so I know that Monty will mention this at the end, but anyone who registered tomorrow will send a recording of the webinar to attendees as well. And then we also post these on insuredmine.com//webinar. So that's where you can register as well as review past sessions. So Nick, this is not your first rodeo. We've done webinars, with you over the years. It's been quite a while. It's really exciting to see your build out and all of the pipeline, and your automation is like spectacular, and it's engaging, right? And as an agency, smaller agencies, they can set this up as well as a large agency. It doesn't matter, right? And it works.
Yeah, and somebody asked a question here too. I was going to address. They said, "Do you still need InsuredMine if you have AMS 360 and Epic?" I would say yes, because and to me, QQ Catalyst, Epic, AMS 360, they're file cabinets for me.
Yep.
They are file cabinets, and that
policy
is it.
Management. Yeah.
Yes, I am going to use this to make money. That's to keep my money. This to make my money.
Good point.
That's a good difference. Yes.
So tell me, what other kind of automations are you, your texting is part of your automation?
Yeah.
Do you
Yep.
use Sly Broadcast at all?
No, not yet. One of the new things too, I think I'm looking at is trying to figure out to use more texting, right? Because everybody's, texting has a 99% open rate, but obviously we got a 43% open rate on our email, so that ain't too bad. But texting is getting difficult too. I do think a lot more people are starting to spam that, but it's just another touch point, right? It's like there's multiple ways to exit a building. There's multiple ways to enter into a relationship with a client. And not everybody wants to text. I've got some clients that they truckers, they're on the road all the time. All they want to do is call. Fine. Okay.
Yeah.
We can call.
Motoring down the highway. Let's talk to Nick.
Yeah.
Moving America. That's what trucks do.
You figure everything in your house and everything you're wearing came off the back of a truck. So we need them. But I would tell you, Nick's philosophy is when I see a tractor trailer on the highway, I move over. Because I've seen their driving record. It sucks. I'm not kidding you. DUIs,
But you have a market for that though, right?
We got a market for everything. I tell them, I can insure your hands if you got money.
There's a Lloyd's policy for everybody. Okay,
I mean,
so
original...
now have you built out? So what are you thinking going forward, right? What more?
Yeah, I'm wanting to get more into what I'm calling the Amazon customer, right? So or even YouTube TV, right? You can go on Amazon, you can order something that can be brought to your house. You don't like it, you can return it. You've never even talked to anybody, right? Or YouTube TV. Go sign up for YouTube TV and try to cancel it. You're never going to talk to anybody. You're going to cancel it. You're going to start it all by yourself, right? So I know that with insurance and laws and licensing, we got to get involved. But if we can create through automation and through an online experience a policy that nobody's really touched, that's what I want to try to do. I'm going to try to create as much things that can work for me, with me, not against me. Continue to really drill down into the automation, and really think through, what am I not thinking through? I mean, I tell you how times I have a conversation, and that's what I love about InsuredMine. It's like, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing, and or Alston or Shubham will say, well, have you thought of it this way? No, well, that's why I need y'all, right? It's because look, we've got Vertafore products. I can chat them, and it's hours before they respond. I think that's the other thing about this relationship is, I even told Roush, I mean, I've looked at other people, but I can text him, I can call y'all. I'm old school about relationships. And so I think the importance of understanding where y'all are going and what else I can do is important, and knowing what I want to do next that I haven't even thought of yet,
Yeah. Lots of great insight. We very much value your partnership, longtime tenure. And everyone's asking you for your contact information, which is already in the webinar chat, by the way. And so anything else, Montserrat, that stood out when you connected with the Brewer Group last week when you were at their office?
I would say I like the part that Nick mentioned, and also he mentioned that to all the team that we were working with. It's that you need to start with something. Start building your process, start creating the deal cards, and then move on. See how you can add your automations, the checklist, and engage with your producers. So you need to tell your producers, this is the process, and you need to use InsuredMine because this is part of your commission or part of your salary. Because what happens is that sometimes the agents or producers, they have technology or InsuredMine is for them not friendly as the AMS. So it starts with something.
Yeah, I would agree to that. I would echo that big time. Like, I tell my guys all the time, if I have to sell policies and I have to service it, what are you going to do? Right? I'm hiring you. Your job is to sell, right? So like, trust that I know that I've built it out to give you that success. This is a trust relationship, but also like you just got to start, start doing something, pick something small with InsuredMine and go with it. Give yourself the understanding, even if I've been with InsuredMine a year or two, I still don't fully know what I can do. Ask the questions, think long term, like, there's more you can do. What are we not using this for? I mean, I don't want to say that sales is the only thing about our business, but it is important, right? Especially in this economy today, but also retaining customers. So let's not even get past this yet. Like you can use this to retain your customers. So it's cheaper
And
to
you
keep
stay
her, right?
engaged with them throughout the whole year. It's not like you just sell the policy and move on. Look at your automations. You're touching them throughout their policy term.
Yes.
And
I
Nick
think the
mentioned
last thing that
something.
we're going to roll out this year will be is the service center, right? Really integrating that, as part of the process. We're kind of using it a different way right now, but
Yeah, and as a sales leader, it is important that you build out the process and show and teach on it so that everyone utilizes the same and you have good buy-in. I think that's important. All right, I know we're coming up on the top of the hour. What other kind of questions do we have in the chat, Monty, or the Q&A?
I think that's it. We don't have more questions. So people, they are just asking for your information. I already posted your email to everyone. So please, guys, if you need something else, you can connect with Nick, or even though you can connect with InsuredMine, happy to help you. And do not forget that also we have the online certification training in which you can start at your time and watch the videos, and of course build your process or use the process that InsuredMine provide to you. And if you need any template or any form, we have professional services, so we can provide those for you. And
that's a great point, because not everybody has a Nick and a Sarah, and Sarah's been instrumental in building a lot of this for Nick. We do have professional services, so you can connect with your customer success manager or in the support chat if you're interested in that. And I think that's a great opportunity for smaller agencies to just jumpstart that process.
Exactly.
Well, and I want to end with this, so we were together last week rolling out a new agency. And I heard this comment that, well, the sales producers aren't going to use this, it's too much data to put in. And I told him, and I couldn't remember this quote, so I looked it back on my wall, and I said, quitting is not an option, but different results require different approach, right? And their complaint was before they said their producers weren't going to use it, was we don't know what they're working on. They're sending the stuff to the CSR, and the CSR is not getting all the information. And I said, you're building my case for me, right? And so we didn't talk about this, but inside InsuredMine, inside each deal card is the quotes that my underwriter's getting, the applications, the emails, the text, all the correspondence. It's all in one place. And when you follow the process and you get all that information and you sign it to a CSR, she has everything, or she pushes it back. And so different results require a different approach. Quitting is not an option.
Words of wisdom.
That's true.
Practical words of processes, for sure.
Yeah. So happy to help anybody. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Nick.
Grateful for that. And I think, Monty, too, we'll have webinars every Wednesday, and occasionally we're going to bring in other clients like Nick, different processes. And I think it's really engaging, and it helps our InsuredMine family, spark that other idea that they may have had, or maybe what you said is something that they've been thinking but didn't know how to implement.
Yeah,
that's correct.
So any other slides to share, Montserrat?
I don't think at this moment, Paula. So just to let you know, guys, next Wednesday we're going to have the May upcoming releases. So keep posted to the email and the website, and probably the pop-up that we have in InsuredMine, so you can register and join us for the new releases that we will have next week.
Yeah, that'll be Wednesday. But remember, in InsuredMine on the top right, we have a little "What's New" option. It's a little button, "What's New." It's got a little flame next to it. So anytime you can click on that and you can see our updates, past and what's coming up. So awesome.
Yes.
Cool.
All right. Thanks for your time, Nick. It's always a
All right.
pleasure.
You too. Thank you. See
Have
y'all.
a beautiful
Thank you,
day, everybody.
everyone.
Thanks for joining.
Bye,
Bye.
Like
everyone.
Esperanza's little trucking icon. Look at that in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Love it.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Hey,
Bye.
see ya.